Welcome to the 38th lecture of our series. Our first topic today is global groundwater maps. Now see, for every map you need some data. Global groundwater map is important, but the technology behind this, the data behind this, from where the data is coming, that source is also very important. That source is a project of NASA and German Space Center also. Before going into that, understand that this global maps was released by what organization? NASA and University of Nebraska Lincoln. In USA, there is a University Nebraska Lincoln. With that, NASA, both of these collaborated and they developed a global map of soil moisture and sea groundwater wetness also. This will be weekly map. This will be weekly map released 2 times in a fortnight. Okay, but this data coming from this map is coming from a satellite system. Now that satellite system is very important. That satellite system is GRACE FO. Previously it was GRACE, now it is a follow-up, so it is GRACE FO. I will explain you everything, but before that, for objective you should remember that global groundwater map will be having the data of global map of soil moisture. Soil moisture just like on the upper layer of the soil, also at the root level of the plant, those soil moisture will be measured, will be estimated actually with a global map, and also to a shallow depth, not very deep, to a shallow depth, your groundwater wetness or groundwater moisture will be also estimated. Now the data is coming from gravity recovery and climate experiment, but follow on. Okay, so previously it was gravity recovery and climate experiment only, but those satellites were discarded. Those satellites had their expiry. Now new satellite system was launched in 2018. So new satellite system was called as gravity recovery and climate experiment, what then? FO, follow on. Okay, this satellite system was used to derive these global maps. What kind of map is this? This is a time varying maps, because in every week you are coming with a new data. So this is a time varying map of distribution of water at 3 depths. I already told you. One depth is surface soil moisture. Second depth is at the root level of a plant, that is root zone soil moisture, roughly up to 3 feet of soil. We consider an average root depth to be 3 feet. And third is shallow groundwater. What can be shallow groundwater? Just below your lake, just below your pond. So these 3 levels depth of these 3 levels wetness of the soil will be measured, and your groundwater also shallow groundwater, and estimation will be made by these satellites. The satellite is gravity recovery and climate experiment. I will explain you what is that, don't worry. So with that data, this NASA and University of Nebraska Lincoln will be coming with a weekly global map of soil moisture for your India also and groundwater. Now see this image. This is a pictorial representation of our GRACE mission. First of all, we will understand GRACE mission, then we will understand GRACE FO mission. 1 satellite, 2 satellite. So UPSC can ask you how many satellites are present in GRACE mission or GRACE system. This is 2 satellite system. Names are GRACE 1 and GRACE 2. First of all, gravity recovery and climate experiment or GRACE was launched by NASA and German Space Center, German Aerospace Center. So you should remember both organizations for your MCQ. German Aerospace Center and NASA together collaborated, and they launched 2 satellites from Russia. Russian soil, they launched 2 satellites. Gravity recovery and climate experiment 1, gravity recovery and climate experiment 2, launched together in 2002, and mission was supposed to be last only for 5 years, but the extension was done. Satellite works very well, and they lasted till 2017. Then your GRACE 2 expired. Now to follow that experiment, follow that system, follow that mapping, NASA again launched with German Space Center only, launched in 2018 2 satellite system, that is GRACE FO. Technically both are same, GRACE and GRACE FO. Just because previous one expired, we launched 2 new satellites, GRACE FO. What does it do? See, the name says gravity recovery. What is that? And climate experiment, how are this thing related? You know your ocean are having more water now because your glacier and everything is melting. The ice sheet is melting. So now suppose one ice sheet melts, one glacier melts. So that ice goes in the ocean. Now the oceanic water will have more gravity, obviously more mass, more gravity. If we can estimate the change in gravity, we can also estimate the change of water level. Change of water level from what? Change of water level from the rise in oceanic sea level water because of melting of glacier and ice sheet. So that change in gravity can help us estimate how much water is coming from ocean. to the groundwater to the soil, or how much water level is rise in is an ocean. So will we see the gravity change will happen because of ocean swelling, you can say that, है ना, glacier melting and snow sheet melting, that will produce some change in gravity, and that change in gravity will give an indirect explanation of climate change. So this is a experiment to know about the gravity change according to the sea level rise, and then we can conclude if there is climate change happening or not. It checks the Earth's gravity field anomalies. Previously, the Earth gravity field, suppose here is one big glacier, right? Here the gravity field will be more because there is more mass. Glacier will be present more mass. Now if it melts, it get distributed all around Earth. So there will be change in gravity. That will be an anomaly. That anomaly is checked by this satellite system. So GRACE 1 was launched, or you can say GRACE, sorry. GRACE has two satellites, GRACE 1 and GRACE 2. So GRACE was launched in 2002, lasted till 2017. Then follow on was launched in 2018 May, and that is how that system is creating the global groundwater map. This tracks the Earth's water movement, monitor changes in underground water storage. Earth water movement from what? Glacier and ice sheet to ocean water, and then to your groundwater. Then your amount of water in large lakes and rivers will be estimated because shallow groundwater, soil moisture, ice sheet, glacier, sea level rise caused by the addition of water to the ocean from your ice sheet and glacier. And again, this is a successor of the original GRACE mission, which orbited the Earth from 2002 to 2017. You should also remember that this is a joint initiative of NASA and German Research Center for Geosciences, and it was launched in 2018, the previous one in 2002, and it has two satellites, GRACE 1 and GRACE 2. Our second topic is CARE project. Care of what? Care and protection from the changing climate. That is why this abbreviation is made, but the full abbreviation is Climate Adaptation, C for Climate, A for Adaptation, R for Resilience for South Asia. So full form is not very good. This is CARE project, but Climate Adaptation and Resilience for South Asia. South Asia means your Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan. But remember that in South Asia, Myanmar is not included. Myanmar is in Southeast Asia. Anyway, this project is coming by World Bank. World Bank has a board of executive directors, and recently they have approved a proposal that they will be giving this CARE project for the South Asia for climate adaptation and resilience, and there will be grant provided to us, loan provided to us to mitigate the climate change and also to adapt to the climate change. First is adaptation. That means, okay, adapt to the changing climate, adapt your agriculture according to that. Second is resilience. If any natural hazard or any artificial hazard happens because of climate, then we should be able to stand up again. That is resilience. So that is your CARE project. In this CARE project, International Development Association is going to grant 36 million, and Program for Asia Resilience to Climate Change will grant 3.5 million. Now, what is IDA and what is Program for Asia Resilience to Climate Change? See, International Development Association project is by World Bank, but the grant will be coming by International Development Association. This is an association, International Financial Association, headquarters in Washington. It has 173 member countries, and it was created in 1960. So this International Development Association gives loan and grants to specifically world's poorest developing countries, and South Asia has so many such countries. And why this organization is, this financial institution is giving the grant for a World Bank project? Because IDA is a member of World Bank Group, and headquarters is in Washington. You have another organization of the similar nature, that is your International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD. To complement the functions of IBRD, we have this IDA created in 1960, and this is also part of your World Bank Group. So 36 million will be coming through International Development Association, a member of World Bank Group. Another $3.5 million is coming from Program for Asia Resilience for Climate Change, or to Climate Change. What is that? Program for Asia Resilience to Climate Change is a trust fund. That means someone will be trustee, and there will be pooling of money. So trust fund supported by United Kingdom's Department for International Development and administered by World Bank. So again, This program for Asia resilience to climate change is by United Kingdom Department of International Development, but this fund is administered by World Bank. So World Bank has said that please invest this amount of money in our CARE project in South Asia, and also your International Development Association, being a World Bank group member, was asked to grant some money to the South Asia for your CARE project. What is the project description? What they will do? The Climate Adaptation and Resilience for South Asia CARE project, it will develop public platform to inform climate planning and investment. What is that? It will be a coordinating body between citizen and the government, and citizens' voice will be given to government, and it will also suggest to government that what can you do so that your climate planning and investment according to the climate change can be very good, can be very resilient. This project will also fund some innovations for the climate resilience, some disruptive technology. What is disruptive technology? Any technology which changes the traditional way we see our development and everything, something very disruptive, okay, something that will bring a huge change. For example, 5G technology, 4G technology, these are disruptive technologies. Your VoLTE calling system, these are disruptive technology. So for climate also we can bring some disruptive technology. What is that? Electric mobility at a larger scale. Your ethanol blending, if happens at a larger scale, ethanol blending, that is also a disruptive technology. These are some of the things it will fund, and that will support the resilience in South Asia. And it will also do the monitoring and assessment of climate impacts, that what are the changing climate impacts on your some district across Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and then after knowing the impact of climate, it will support their agriculture, livestock, water and transport. CARE will work with 2 regional organizations. The funding is coming through, see, the project is by World Bank, right? Funding is coming by IDA and Program for Asia Resilience to Climate Change. Both are related to World Bank. This fund is administered by World Bank, but this is coming from United Kingdom. And IDA is World Bank group member. So these are the funding institutions. But now when they are coming in South Asia, they will have to collaborate with some South Asian organization. So yes, they are collaborating with 2 regional South Asian organization. One is RIMS. You must have heard so many times, it is important for prelims. Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System for Africa and Asia. You have India here, right? You have India, and then you have here Africa, and here Asia. In this region, there is so many climate disaster, there is so many cyclone, tsunami and everything. So for that, these regional countries have made regional integrated multi-hazard. So many hazard can happen, and it is regional, so need to integrate. If we integrate together for the multi-hazard, various type of hazard, we can produce some early warning system that will protect the fishermen, that will protect the coastal areas living people. So for that, Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System is created between African and Asian countries along the coast which are present, and then another organization they are collaborating with is Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. What is that? We will know about both of these organizations, not a problem. First one is Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System for Africa and Asia. This is known as RIMS. It is an intergovernmental institution. This is not an NGO. This is intergovernmental institution. States are present as members for the generation and application of early warning information. See, for example, Sri Lanka will inform India that one tropical cyclone is coming. It is going towards your Odisha coast, Andhra Pradesh coast. Be prepared. So integration is helping in early warning information. RIMS evolved from the efforts of countries in Africa and Asia, as you know already, after the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami which destroyed Sri Lanka and coastal areas of India. That 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami that happened in the month of December, I think. So after this destruction, these countries decided that they need to produce some early warning system. That is how the RIMS came into the picture. RIMS will bring the capacity of its member states. Capacity means your potential to deal with the climate or disaster issues. In the end, to end early warning of tsunami and hydrometeorological hazards. Very clear? It operates from the Regional Early Warning Center, and where it is located, the office is located in Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand. Asian Institute of Technology in Thailand, the office is located, headquarters is located, and India is a founding member because India was also devastated by 2004 Indian tsunami, and India chairs RIMS Council. You should remember that. Now see the map. See the map? These are the countries. See? This is the RIMS countries. Pakistan is also a member. More information. You heard that this was created in the aftermath of 2004 Indian tsunami, but the organization was actually founded in 2009, very late, after 5 years, 2009. Also, this is a member of United Nations, or you can say it is registered under United Nations. And how many member countries are present? Almost 45 member countries are present in this organization. Headquarters is in Thailand, but chairman is your India only. Second collaborating organization, Asian Disaster Preparedness Center. Its headquarters is also located in Thailand only, Bangkok. This was created in 1986, long before your RIMS. Asian Disaster Preparedness Center came into the picture, and headquarters was located in Bangkok, Thailand in 1986. It is what type of organization? Again, the intergovernmental organization. It also works for the building of people and institution resilience to disaster and climate change impact in Asia and Pacific. RIMS was particularly focused on early warning system, but this is focused on, ADPC is focused on resilience and climate change impact in climate change impact assessment in Asia Pacific. So what this organization does, it provides comprehensive technical services to countries in the region, Asia Pacific region, APAC region, to support sustainable solution for risk reduction and climate resilience. ADPC is governed by its 9 founding member countries. Is India that founding member country? Yes, India is also present. Pakistan? Yes, Pakistan is also present. Remember, India and Pakistan at least, and China also is present as the founding member. 9 founding members govern this body, but headquarters is located in Bangkok, Thailand, created in 1986. Function is to build resilience of people and institutions to disaster. That is why this will work for sustainable solutions for risk reduction and climate resilience. Now see the map of Bihar. Bihar, you know, has Ganga river. Ganga comes like this in Bihar, goes to your Bhagalpur, then one district of Jharkhand, that is Sahebganj, and then Ganga flows into West Bengal and then merges into sea in Sundarbans. You know this much, right? So Ganga crosses through Bhagalpur. Another fact you should know, that Ganga has dolphin, the river dolphin, the freshwater dolphin. Now in that Bhagalpur, there is Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary, particularly specifically dedicated to conservation of dolphin. In Bihar's Bhagalpur, you have Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary. Why Vikramshila? Because your ancient Vishwavidyalaya, just like Nalanda, in Bhagalpur area you had Vikramshila. Also, this Bhagalpur area was ancient India known as Champa. Champa, the capital of Mahajanpad Anga. All these are related to Bhagalpur. Then there is Bhagalpuri silk. It has GI tag. So all these things are related to Bhagalpur. I will again repeat. Bhagalpur has Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary. Why name Vikramshila? Because your ancient Vishwavidyalaya University, Vikramshila, was located in Bhagalpur. Second thing, Bhagalpur in ancient time, during the Mahajanpad period, it was known as Champa. Champa was the capital of Anga Kingdom. Also, Bhagalpur silk is having GI tag. So here, first of all, the Gangetic dolphin was conserved in the sanctuary. Now Bihar government has decided that they will be creating India's first observatory for these mammals, that is dolphin. Dolphin is a mammal, right? So mammal dolphin in Bhagalpur, first observatory for dolphin. It will promote obviously ecotourism, because dolphin is a great cause of curiosity. Although they do not look like your ocean dolphin, those are very majestic. These are very small, just like a fish, but still it is also a matter of curiosity, because it is a freshwater dolphin, and this is also known as India's national aquatic animal. That is no fish, that is your dolphin only, of the Gangetic dolphin. You have a bridge over there. You don't need to remember Sultanganj and Aguwani Ghat bridge over the Ganga. It will be in the middle of the river, where bridges will be increased and all. That is technical detail is not needed, don't worry. A big 4-story observatory will be created 40 feet high, so that people can observe the dolphin, not needed again. Other technical detail, like it will be transparent with the glass from all sides. You can Google and you can see the project which is upcoming. Now a very good thing Bihar government has done, that they are building this observatory on a bridge. So bridge is already present. They are not creating a new structure in the water. So that is why this will not destroy the river's ecology. This sanctuary, Vikramshila Gangetic Dolphin Sanctuary, is almost 60 km stretch in the Ganges River from Sultanganj to Kahalgaon in Bhagalpur district. It was designed in 1991, okay, and it protects your endangered Gangetic dolphin. Now you should know about the Gangetic dolphin. Now see a very conceptual thing. This is how it looks like, okay. This is Ganges river dolphin leaping out of the water and image and all fine. IUCN status endangered, right? Mammals IUCN status is endangered. Very beautiful map in Wikipedia. See the course of Ganga. So this is in Ganga, right? So a little bit will be in Bangladesh also, and here also. Ganges river dolphin. Now see the image in Pakistan area. Some area is highlighted here. This area is for the Indus river dolphin. So what does that mean? River dolphin in Indian subcontinent is not only in Ganga. In Ganga you have Ganges river dolphin, but in Indus you have Indus river dolphin. So study them unitedly. India, Pakistan united. South Asian river dolphin. South Asian river dolphin, you do not need to remember this species name. It is an endangered freshwater river dolphin found in the region of Indian subcontinent. Now, this is one species only. Your South Asian river dolphin is one species. Out of that, you have two varieties or two subspecies. One is Ganges river dolphin, right? Ganges river dolphin is named as Platanista gangetica, right? It has almost 3500 individuals left. And second is Indus river dolphin, and this is known as minor, Platanistica gangetica minor, right? It has 1500 individuals. So in Indus also you have the species named as Platanista gangetica only, but this is known as minor variety, and your Ganges river dolphin is known as Platanista gangetica. Remember? So Ganges river dolphin will be mainly found in your Ganga and Brahmaputra river also, because Ganga unites with Brahmaputra in Bangladesh area. So Brahmaputra, Ganga, both of these rivers have this Ganges river dolphin. So some of the rivers tributaries will also be having. So overall the picture is that India, Nepal and Bangladesh. And what about the Indus river dolphin? This will be in Indus river in Pakistan, and some of the active channels in the river Beas also. So Punjab government is also trying to conserve the Indus river dolphin, because in Punjab area a few number only, but Indus river dolphin is present also in Punjab areas in the river Beas. Beas is a tributary of Indus. In Pakistan it is known as the national mammal of Pakistan, and India it is known as national aquatic animal of the nation. Also, official animal of the Indian city of Guwahati, it was declared recently only. Official animal of the Indian city of Guwahati is dolphin only, Gangetic dolphin. What are the local name? Ganges species is known as Susu. Susu. I used to live in this area around the Kosi river. I have seen many. Here we do not call it Susu. Actually we call it Sons. We also used to call it Sons. But anyway, Susu as per the book and Wikipedia. And Indus subspecies is known as Bhulan. Okay, Bhulan. Because this animal cannot see. They depend on waves and ultrasound and everything, but they cannot see. That is why this is called Bhulan, right? Bhul gaya. Blind river dolphin is overall name. Side swimming dolphin is overall name. But the subspecies are known as Gangetic one is known as Susu, and your Indus subspecies is known as Bhulan in Pakistan. So this is all in today's lecture. See you next time. Take care. Bye bye.